Well, boys, it's the international break. It's the worst 2 weeks in football. I I don't know what we're gonna talk about.
We're going to talk about Villarreal being the champions of the world.
I've come to defend the honor of the old lady of Turin.
This is Red Card Radio.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends who support different clubs, and our good friend and guest on the podcast, friend of the podcast, Will. As always, I'm James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight is Brad. He supports Chelsea. That's Sean. He supports Tottenham. And down below, the defender of the old lady of Turin, we've got Will and his good friend Giorgio Chiellini.
Can you guys read the quote? I don't know if that's visible.
They always create many chances and score so much, but in the end,
they always miss something.
They always miss something in the end.
It is the history of Tottenham.
Yes, I knew that when I started reading it. I knew that was the quote. Oh, boys, what's going on? Hello, good evening. What's up?
We got shots fired early on here.
We're just going in.
I feel like we're just gonna be quiet a lot of this.
I'm pretty observant. Those, correct me if I'm wrong, those were not on the wall 5 minutes ago, were they?
No, not quite.
I
thought so.
That phone call I got a couple minutes ago before we started, I didn't know what was happening, but I knew something was happening. And so I needed to get some clarification on when I needed to start recording because he needed some live reactions, and mine was entirely genuine because I had no idea what was going on. But that's good. That was well done, Will. Well done. But yeah, so Will, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being one of our longest serving and most loyal supporters. Always keen to talk some football with us. Though, of course, you mostly watch Italian football as being a Juve supporter, but you have found I guess three buffoons who talk about English football.
Yeah, it's always great to listen to you guys and get updates on the Premier League, which I don't get to watch that much, but yeah, it's always fun to hear updates, and it's an honor to be here. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So as we get into it tonight, of course, we're gonna hit the comments from last week. We do have Will's comment from last week that we have to talk about.
I guess we start with that.
Well, in a minute, Sean.
Okay, all right.
You have to let me go. There's a list here. Okay, so we're going to talk about the comments. Then we're gonna recap what happened in the Premier League, FA Cup, the Champions League. Will, I hear there are a few topics that you want to talk about, so we want to leave some time for you to talk about specific topics that you want to bring up. And then, if we have time permitting, we should hit on the U.S. men's national team. They got a huge game at the Azteca in Mexico City coming up. I think it's Thursday, right? So. Big game coming up for U.S. men's national team and qualifying for the Qatar 2022 World Cup, which is only like 9 short months away, something like that. It's pretty. It's in December, right? So
it's coming.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Down in the desert.
Yeah, do we want to talk about the Qatar World Cup? We could.
They should just host the World Cup final on Christmas. F it. If we're embracing no morals at all, and we're just changing things for pure greed and lining pockets, then just put the final on Christmas.
I mean, to be fair, it's a Muslim country, right? So like,
Christmas doesn't matter to them.
They don't observe Christmas. Yeah, so let's do it. I'm okay with that. I'd be all right with that.
You got the whole family together anyway.
Yeah,
crowd around the TV, watch the World Cup final.
I on my graduation day was the day of a Champions League final, and after my graduation, I went home and watched the Champions League final.
Which Champions League final was that?
I don't know.
That would have been Arsenal Barcelona.
No, I was in high school when that happened.
How old is he?
The Miracle in Bayern.
Sure, I guess that was the one that Chelsea won in 2012.
That was the one that Chelsea won. Yes.
all I can remember is watching my eldest sister sit there and watch it and just be like bored out of her mind. She was like, what the fuck are we doing right now? That's all I could see her. Shout out, Kate. What's up? I hope you're listening. But yeah, so those are things we're going to talk about. We don't have too much to look forward to in terms of previewing because, of course, we're on the front end of the international break. Next week, we'll have more preview in terms of what's to come. But before we get into anything too serious, if you are new here and you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit the follow button, all those things, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the podcast. Hit the sub notification if you're on YouTube. Rate us 5-star on Apple Podcasts, all those things. Leave us a comment, share it with a friend, subscribe on your wife's YouTube account as well. All those things. We're still in Operation Trick Google. That's the goal.
Just leave a tab in your browser, just playing it on repeat, right?
Yeah, constantly play. Well, I think you need to open up your VPN, change your IP address a couple times so it doesn't just eliminate your results because of the same IP address watching it over and over again. But do all those things. We really appreciate it. It would help us a lot. And there's something that we do around here that Sean likes to bring up because you wouldn't want anything to like happen to you or befall your week or anything like that, right, Sean?
I don't know if Will's ready for this one. I don't know if he's aware. If you do not like, subscribe, rate, review 5-star, what may befall you is you may be in a situation that you need to pick a beneficiary. So clearly you would go to your next of kin, but in this scenario, your next of kin won't be sure what their last name is legally. So you can't do it. You can't pick them.
Who do you pick?
You might have to go to your younger brother.
Oh man,
no!
This is
you got to move siblings because one of them is an idiot.
Brad, would you ever list Brett as a beneficiary on anything?
No. Yes, I mean maybe.
Well, what about you? Would you list your younger brother as a beneficiary of anything?
I mean, if he has more mouths to feed than anyone else, I mean, it seems logical. So
see, I think that sounds like a really good answer. So on that note, you don't want to. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to try and list a beneficiary and not be able to know what their name is. It sounds a little fishy. Maybe that person's trying to maybe they saved you so they're not trying to steal your money or something.
There was a marriage, no DMV situation, no SSA. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but there was a marriage situation that hasn't been finalized fully.
Apparently they got married in the weeds because there's no. Anyway, I don't. Leave a comment, write a review, subscribe and 5-star, and that won't happen to you, or it might not happen to you.
It's a completely ridiculous situation I had to deal with.
But yeah, so let's jump into the comments. I don't want to start with Will's because he's here. I want to go to Will's second.
Okay.
Because I want to start with Joel's. Joel has a question for you, Sean. Sean, why are you so harsh on Kane? He's one of the best passers of the ball in the league. Amazing vision. He and Son are one of the best duos in the league too. One of the top 3 strikers in the world, IMO. Changed my mind.
I think. All right, hold on. Let's back up for a second. Let's attack the first sentence first.
Piecemeal. Yeah.
Harsh on Kane. We were comparing Thierry Henry to Harry Kane, and I said Thierry Henry's probably better. It's not like I'm saying Peter Crouch is better. Thierry Henry's one of the best strikers ever. It's comparing right there. The fact that there was an argument speaks to Kane's skill.
So what you're saying is that comparing Kane to Henry is an apples and oranges comparison.
No, no. I'm saying it's apples to apples. He's in the realm. The fact that we can have an argument is the compliment to Kane.
It's like the red apples versus green apples.
I think
is what he's trying to say.
We should throw this to Will. Will, you've heard
Lily White apples.
You've heard this conversation we've had about Thierry Henry and Harry Kane. Where do you fall on that fence? Of course, remembering that Thierry Henry is a former Juve player.
Yeah, for 6 months. You still owe us for that one, by the way.
Yeah, we fleeced the hell out of you for that. Don Arce.
No, but Yeah, I mean, Kane and Henry are obviously different types of strikers. They're both strikers, and they probably don't differ too much in height. I'm not sure exactly how tall Henry was, but he was a speedster.
They're
He's
really
more
close.
he's more of an Mbappe,
I venture to say that they're both 6'1".
Yeah, Henry I think is like 6 foot, but yeah, they're very close in height. They're not Kane. Yeah. Henry, for as fast as Henry is, you would think he's smaller, but he's actually quite big.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Mbappe is a better comparison for like current players to Henry than Kane. Kane's more of like he doesn't really. I don't see him that much, but he doesn't really hold the ball up as much as some of the like a Giroud type or an Ibrahimovic who or Vlahovic who might come up in your response comment. But he. But I mean, he's definitely got the skill. I think it's legitimate to talk about him in the same breath as Henry, even though I think we all agree that Henry is a better player.
That's all I was saying.
Joel did want me to add here that Henry was second to Shearer. Shearer is clearly better than Henry. He just wanted to make sure that was out there.
All right.
Joel, we'll talk about that next time you're on the podcast, Joel.
I think Joel's the only one out of. I mean, I wasn't watching soccer when Shearer was playing.
Yeah,
so
same.
Yeah. Well,
I was 5 and probably picking my nose.
You're 35 and still picking your nose, bro. What are you talking about?
Actually, I don't know if we want to go down this route, but
I guess we are.
In personal note, I went from many, many jobs of just being in my vehicle all the time, like traveling for work, within the area to having kind of a desk. Not as easy to get the boogers out when you're not in your car by yourself. Like you just can't be knuckle deep at your desk, like with people around you. It has significantly cut down on the nose picking.
I'm constantly surrounded by people at my job who pick their nose, so it's weird.
That's true.
My coworkers are constantly having their fingers in their nose. It's ridiculous.
Probably other things, I'd imagine.
And everything else too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they do stick a lot of stuff in their nose as well.
You guys would appreciate this. Overheard a story of a good friend up at the local watering hole. One of their kids got a popcorn kernel stuck in their nose, and then tried to get it out and only pushed it further.
That's unsurprising.
So then it was actually stuck. And this said kid, I think, is 3 or 4.
Sounds about right. Gosh. Sounds about right.
I'm not shocked. It's funny, but I'm not shocked.
Lucky for that
ridiculously
kid.
Yeah.
It'll come out. There's another hole at the back end.
Well, luckily,
what do they do?
Their father was very well known and renowned in the art of snot rocket, which he was able to teach to his daughter of getting that old kernel out of there.
So that looks like that's the second sentence in Joel's question.
Yes. Do you pick your nose?
He's one of the best passers of the ball in the league. Amazing vision. He and Son are one of the best. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Amazing vision. Best passers in the league. Amazing vision. What say you? It's probably true.
Well, they clearly are statistically the best duo in Premier League history. So that one I'm not going to argue with.
Do you think that's more down to the length of time they've played together?
I mean, of course.
Because do you because I think other duos that you can think about in the Premier League. I mean, I guess the problem is you think about duos, you think center back duos or midfield pairs or Kane and Son, so attacking pairs. So would you consider Carvalho and John Terry as one of the best duos in of all time?
Yes.
How are you going to rate Kane and how are you going to compare Kane and Son to a defender duo? You can't. They just do different things.
About that, and there's something to be said of something to the effect of if Liverpool had a better striker through his time, Xabi Alonso's long passing is one of the best I've probably ever seen with his accuracy of putting it on the number. But if you had someone consistently there, for a length of time.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. They had Torres, and Torres lit the league on fire.
Yeah. But he wasn't there that long, like what, 4 or 5 years?
Well, Torres wasn't there that long because Chelsea came in with the money. Silly money.
So Son and Kane have been together. It's probably been 7 years.
7 years, I think, something like that. It's insane.
Yeah. Which is a long time in football world.
So let's get to his last comment. Top 3 striker in the world. What do you think? You agree? Disagree?
No, he's not a top 3 striker in the world.
Okay, who you got above him?
Lewandowski, Mbappe, maybe he is. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, Neymar is probably better, more skillful, right? Like I don't know his form right now, but
winger.
Neymar.
Would you classify him as a striker? Like
I wouldn't.
I know he's a forward.
Does Salah count? Is he a winger too?
Salah, like is that a winger?
Yeah.
They don't really play him. Yeah, they play a front 3. So is he a striker? I mean, in their system, he kind of is, but he's not really.
Yeah, who's the top 3 prima puntas in the world football?
Lua.
Dylon. So this is how I responded to
this weekend. Benzema.
So I responded to Joel on this because I didn't disagree wholeheartedly with a lot of what Joel said, but I think the top 3 striker in the world for Kane is a bridge too far. My response is that Kane is good, but I think top 3 in the world is too high. No particular order. Benzema, Lua, Mbappe. Admittedly, different type of forward. I might make an argument for Vlahovic or Haaland, and I don't want anyone to like take it as a dig specifically against Harry Kane, who is very good, and I think he's the best center forward in the Premier League. But I think top 3 is a bridge too far for me personally.
If we're talking results, honestly, doesn't Vardy have to be at least considered?
No, his face is stupid.
He's consistently been in the top 3, 4, 5 in scoring for the past since 16. So
Brad, pull up
Brad,
pull up the golden boot for me for the last couple of years because I don't think Harry Kane. I don't think Vardy has actually been that close over the last couple of years.
He's been pretty consistent. He's usually there-ish.
I don't think for at least like the last 2 years. I don't think he's like this year, last year, maybe the year before. I don't know. But Brad will check that for us.
He would more qualify as a striker.
Agreed. A very different type of center forward to Harry Kane, but still a center forward. Joel responded to me. He said, I have to take a response from an Arsenal fan with a pinch of salt. Plus, I'm more referencing his overall ability on the ball. None of the strikers you mentioned can pass the ball like Kane can, and his goal tally is usually up there with theirs too, which is a fair point because Kane does – something slightly baffling about Kane is he likes to receive the ball at the halfway line. Like he likes to be in midfield to receive the ball and kind of start play. He drops super far. He drops really far.
It's like he likes to use that vision to pass out to Son and then get in position to receive a tap in.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does a lot. That's a lot of our goals is Son passing it into Kane and Kane just directing it. Or vice versa. Yeah.
So he actually did win it in 2019-2020 with 23 goals and 35.
Okay.
So that's the COVID year?
Yeah. 1920 is the COVID year.
I was wondering why the total was so low. But
he was also going off. Kane won it last year with 23 goals. He was also going off before he had his kid that year too. Like he only had, I think 8 goals after the winter break.
I just think if we're going strictly on results, because there's a lot, Vardy is largely overrated. I think he's just fast and opportunistic. I don't think he's that great of a football player, but he is. If you're going on strictly results, he has to be considered.
He has a Premier League. So how many does Harry Kane have?
Funnily enough that you asked that, because he is actually tied with Alan Shearer with 3. But they are also in second place to Thierry Henry with 4 golden boots.
3 what?
3 golden boots. Each for Harry Kane and Alan Shearer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then 4 for Thierry Henry.
Where's Mo Salah have? Mo Salah's got 3, doesn't he?
He's got 2 or 3. Yeah.
2. He's tied with Van Persie, Drogba, Hasselbank, and Michael Owen.
I saw a graphic of the most overrated team in Premier League history,
Okay.
and it was just the players that are regarded as overrated and placed into their position.
Oh, okay.
And
Like the top 11 of overrated.
Yeah, Mo Salah was on there. I was like, what? How can you say he's overrated?
Yeah, I think I saw that.
That is a ridiculous
I would say
graphic.
He's underrated. Yeah.
I think he's the best player in world football right now. Like,
I would fully agree.
And I know that I have a Premier League bias, but he walks into literally any team in the world, in my opinion.
Will you take Salah on Juventus right now?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're gonna need a replacement for Dybala, so yeah, I'd take him.
He is rumored for Tottenham. However, Champions League qualification is
a requirement.
One of his requirements. So
yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
yes, we are in fifth.
He's coming home. Hey, do you know what team Salah scored his? Do you know what team Salah scored his first goal against?
Who, Brad?
Arsenal in the Chelsea kit. When we won 6-0.
Hey, Brad, I got one for you. Do you know who Wayne Rooney scored his first goal against?
Chelsea?
Arsenal in an Everton kit. Who cares?
Oh, wow.
That was a heck of a goal.
It was.
That was a worldie. I know you guys like talking about worldies.
And Brad, you should know this because it's on all of like the Premier League advertisements.
Yeah.
It is an absurd goal.
Also, we might need an entire episode to break down all of the talent that Chelsea let go away.
And are still a top 5 club in the world.
That's because you just keep buying people.
Well, they used to.
We will again.
Oh yeah, well I guess we talked about keeping politics out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Ricketts, bro. All right, we have one more comment that we need to talk.
Yeah, the Cubs are looking great this year.
We need to deal with this comment, Will.
What do we got?
Will wants us to define some parameters around the penalty shootout. Clearly, top priority is still to see if Sean can save anything. But if Jimmy, and parenthetically he says, and James, if he's playing, should also do a round in goal against Sean. So listen to that second half. I do want to take penalties against Sean. And I'm more than happy to be in goal for Sean to take penalties against me and see who fares better. That sounds fun to me. Jimmy, I would imagine Jimmy, you would feel the same way. But what do you mean by defined parameters? What kind of parameters are you looking for?
Well, I mean, so someone's shooting, someone's trying to save. If you miss the target completely, I feel like that has to count for Sean because it's much harder to save a penalty for novices than it is to put one past someone that may or may not know what they're doing in goal. You know what I mean?
Agreed. I think a miss goes in the goalkeeper's column.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't think we count as a block though.
True.
Agreed. That's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sean was like, "Oh, I'll block at least 2." So if he can do that, great. If he can't, then he loses the bet or whatever. But I think you have 3 categories. You miss the target, you score, or it's saved.
Yeah.
And then also I like the idea of giving him a shot to put him past Jimmy too, or you, James.
I think my comment was I'm getting to 2. Well,
you said you're saving. No, you said you were saving more than 2.
I'm getting to 2. Yeah, like I'm saving it. Yeah, like I'm getting my hand to 2 of them.
I think there was more than that.
And were you doing 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 10?
I don't remember, but let's just make it 5. I'll get to 5 out of 10.
There were also like conversations about what would get to 5 out of 10. Okay. There's also like difference between Jimmy and Ibra. Like you guys were talking about different shooters. So
okay,
I don't remember what claims you made against him.
You're saving 0 out of 0 against Ibrahimovic.
Unless this guy's like a Sunday League hero. Like I'm taking my athletic ability, my confidence in my athletic ability over a dude off the couch. Yes, I'm going to take that bet.
Damn, that you just dude off the couch to one of our most loyal listeners, bro. That's rude.
Unless he like is a local legend, a local legend in the soccer community wherever he hails from.
He might have a story. We'll never know.
Then I could be screwed.
You saying he's not going to make more than 5, or you're going to get to 5 that he puts on target?
I think my official statement will be he will not make more than 5. I will save 3.
You'll save or he will miss 50%.
No, he will not make 5 because 3 of them I'm blocking, 2 he's missing.
Okay.
That's my official sheets of integrity. You want me to put it on the sheets?
How many are you saving from me?
9.
Dang.
Did you say 9? Was it none or 9?
9.
9.
I'm not fluent in German.
Hey, last time I saw James play soccer, he scored 5 goals in one game, just for the record. So
It's probably also like 10, 12 years ago.
It was probably closer to like 27 years ago.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is there was a reason that Staph Infection and Fresh Off the Boat picked me to be in goal.
There's a reason why I won Golden Boot almost every year I played at UVA Wise Intramural. I'm just saying.
There's also a reason I have indoor, outdoor championship shirts for 2 consecutive years of winning both indoor and outdoor.
Okay, well, that's true.
And yes, Brad, I beat Kappa Sig in the championship on the outdoor one.
Yeah, well, Brad never played because he was too busy walking around with his backpack.
Facts.
Anyway,
and my shoes were usually in plastic bags.
Brad's a basketball player.
That's true. Catch him on the floor. That's all we got. Those were our comments. Really appreciate them. So let's talk about some football that happened. We'll just kind of rapid fire some of this stuff. I'll start with the FA Cup. If you guys remember from last week, I predicted that Middlesbrough, Everton, Southampton, and Nottingham Forest would all win in the FA Cup. That was who we were rooting for. And if you are a loyal listener to this podcast, you will realize that none of those 4 teams won. So Middlesbrough lost to Chelsea. Chelsea won 2-0. Palace shellacked Everton 4-0. Southampton, I don't think they played. They lost 4-1 to City. And Liverpool and Nottingham Forest played the most interesting game of the week. And Diego Jota got like a 79th minute winner away at Nottingham Forest, fulfilling Jurgen Klopp's Robin Hood dream. I don't know if you guys saw this in the press conference. He's like, I don't know anything about Nottingham Forest. I've never been there. The only thing I know about them is from Robin Hood, which is kind of humorous. But yeah, so that means in the semifinals we have Chelsea. They're host. I don't know if they're hosting. Well, it's at Wembley at this point. So Chelsea are going to be playing Palace, and Liverpool are going to be playing City in the FA Cup semifinals. Brad, did you get a chance to watch that game? It was on Saturday, so I'm sure you were working.
I was 100% working.
That was over the weekend.
Yeah, it was on Saturday.
Yes.
You know what else happened this weekend that you left out of the rundown here?
We can get to it. I know what you're referencing.
Hold on.
This is not that type of podcast.
We'll talk about it.
Lando Norris began his championship campaign.
How many points did Lando pick up this week? How many points?
You know what? Just because you start off rough doesn't mean the season's going to be rough.
All right. Well, why don't you pull that up? Pull up the top 10 from this week in Bahrain.
Okay, it's been one race. All right.
You're the one that brought it up.
Yeah,
I don't know why you did this to yourself.
Oh, all right.
Lando Norris's championship to lose is all I'm saying.
Sure, I will agree with that. It's his championship to lose. Yeah. Okay. So back to football, Brad. You said you didn't get a chance to watch because you were working. I believe that's what you were saying.
Yes, that is correct.
What's the Chelsea Sphere saying about this match?
It was, listen, when our club is in chaos, we win.
Okay.
And we haven't lost, not including Liverpool. I mean, including Liverpool, we've lost 12 out of 13, and that was in penalties when it came down to the goalies taking penalties. So
are you talking about? So in the last
generally speaking,
in the last 13 games you guys have played, you have only lost to Liverpool.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are on a really good run of form. So
as long as we stay in chaos, we're taking the FA Cup and we're taking the Champions League.
I disagree, but we'll get to it.
It's written in the stars.
Oh, it's written.
It's written in the stars.
No, I'm not reading it. I think this Liverpool City one's going to be interesting. Because because these two are fighting for the title. Liverpool and City are fighting for the title. And
we can see who gets clapped by Chelsea.
What was that, Brad?
They're fighting to see who gets clapped by Chelsea.
Oh, are they? Okay. I don't know. Bro, Crystal Palace is no joke, right? We've seen them play really, really good. So, I don't think you should sleep on Crystal Palace.
I'm not, but we're still getting that dub.
All right, man. We'll see. Those are actually all really good games. Both those games will be really good. Premier League. We'll hit the Premier League real quick. So, Brighton. We're hosting Spurs. Spurs get the 2-0 victory. I think we all predicted that Spurs would get that victory. Arsenal are hosting Liverpool. Liverpool did in fact prevail in that game. They win 2-0. Everton hosting Newcastle. Everton get the 99th minute winner from Alex Iwobi. He's still the best transfer in Everton Football Club history. Wolves and Leeds. Leeds come back to beat Wolves 3-2. Arsenal hosted Villa on Saturday morning. Arsenal get the victory 1-0. Leicester hosting Brentford. Leicester win that game 2-1. And then rounding out the weekend before the international break, Spurs hosting West Ham in the London Derby. Spurs win that 3-1. So Sean, Spurs picked up 6 points out of potential 6 points.
That's the most shocking we saw of the weekend, Sean. What do you got to say about this?
How do you deal with that, man?
You already said my answer. This is the most shocking result of the weekend.
If we bring up the league table, which I'm going to do, and I won't. That's the wrong scene. There we go. I'm not going to go through it line for line because a lot of it hasn't changed. But if we look at the Champions League places, we'll just start in fourth. Arsenal are still in fourth. They're on 54 points. Tottenham are up to fifth now. They're on 51 points, though they have played one more game than Arsenal. And of course, they have that ever important North London derby coming up. Manchester United are in sixth on 50 points. So they're still hunting around there. Of course, they have to play Arsenal as well. So that's 3 points that they could take to further their climb. And I think United and Spurs have to play against each other still. Is that right, Sean? Yeah, that's right. I'm just going to go with it. West Ham look like they may have fallen out of the top four race. They're on 48 points in seventh, having played one more game than United and Spurs and two more than Arsenal. So they look like they're probably a bit too far off. And then if we just kind of hop down to the bottom of the table, Norwich City are still in 20th on 17. Burnley are in 19th on 21. Watford are in 18th on 22. And both getting victories this weekend or since our last episode, Everton and Leeds. Everton are in 17th on 25 points. Leeds are in 16th on 29 points. Everton have 3 games to play compared to Leeds. They're on 27 games played. Watford are on 29 games played. Burnley are on 27. And Norwich are on 29. So Burnley can get very close to Everton. They can catch Leeds actually as well. So Burnley aren't dead. So Turf Moor, Sean, are they staying up?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Then
easy answer.
Our Leeds are who's going down? Who's going down between Leeds and Everton?
Oh, Everton's out of here.
Oh, okay. Yeet them and delete them.
They're going to be the next crossed off the list of teams who have never been relegated from the Premier League.
Who? Burnley?
Everton.
Oh, Everton. Oh, they're going to delete that 68-year.
Yeah, they're getting crossed off that list. Well, no. Oh, of the Premier League.
Oh, Premier League. Okay, not long serving.
So since what, 92, 93?
Yeah.
I think I'd have to look at it to be sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, West Ham, and Everton. I think is the complete list.
No, because Chelsea didn't start in the Premier League.
Okay, then so leave them off. But Man City's been down, Chelsea's been down. So then it's just Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, West Ham, Everton. Then
sounds about right.
Yeah,
that
must be correct because everyone else that I'm looking at has come up within recent memory. Between Wolves have been up 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit longer. Villa went down for a year. Leicester only came up in 14. Southampton around the same time, Palace around the same time, or maybe they dipped down and came back. Brighton's only been up for 4 or 5 years. Newcastle did a dip down. Brentford only came up recently. Leeds, same thing. Watford, Burnley, Norwich, yeah, all recent.
Yeah. I just have to double check this Chelsea thing. Oh no, Chelsea have been in the Premier League the whole time.
Yeah.
They last came up in
I
89,
so.
90. Yeah, that's my bad.
Because Man City got relegated earlier mid 90s, so that's what excludes them.
They've been in 20 consecutive seasons, so it was the early thousands.
Oh, really? That recently? I thought it was in the 90s. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's Chelsea, Spurs, United, Liverpool, Everton, and Arsenal. I had to double check that. After I talked shit on Chelsea, I had to double check it.
And Everton.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Chelsea are getting relegated as two when they go into bankruptcy.
Administration.
Yeah. That'd be the most expensive club in the history of sports.
What do they get docked for administration?
I think it's only 9 points.
I mean, you could still
which we still might finish top. We'll probably still finish top 4.
You can still play in the FA Cup if you get relegated. It's all good.
It's true. You're still allowed.
Probably still win more trophies than Tottenham.
And Arsenal.
Ow!
Brad, we have more trophies than you. Like what? I don't.
Not since Chelsea became a club.
The silence.
Since Chelsea became a club.
Hey, if you only respect Chelsea after Abramovich bought them, I mean, when he's gone, are you still a Chelsea fan? Or are you bandwagoning? What's up?
Oh no, we're a Chelsea fan. We talked about this. I bet with Joel. If Chelsea go down the next 5 years, then I have to buy a Newcastle jersey.
Or you could just move to whatever team Roman Abramovich does buy after this.
Oh, he's buying the Brazilian team, I think. I think is what I saw.
I mean,
I figured he'd purchase Real Madrid.
No,
he couldn't.
Barca.
If he would buy a European team, it would probably be like an Italian team because they're super cheap.
What? Yep,
You're not
exactly.
really wrong.
I'm not wrong. He could walk in and like with 2 briefcases of cash buy AC Milan tomorrow, probably. Like AC Milan are super broke. Like they're not Juve broke, but they're super broke.
Ouch.
Bro,
if he
got XOR behind us, man.
Okay.
They just keep doing cash injections.
If he got a mid-table team, he also could easily afford their wages because I'm pretty sure they get. I think the union for plumbers is $25 an hour or something like that.
This guy.
Since we only play for 90 minutes, I mean that's only.
It's only 2.
That's only $37.50. $37.50.
I'm sure we're gonna talk about the UCL, but I'm not gonna lie. At the end of that Juve game last Wednesday, I was kind of thinking to myself, we're looking like plumbers and farmers right about now. So I guess Sean was right.
Let's talk about that. So of course, Champions League. We're not going to talk about Lille Chelsea because no one cares. Chelsea advance, but this Juve Villarreal result, 3-0 to Villarreal. Now my boy Unai Emery is good, but he's not
good manager.
He's not 3-0 anyone good. Like this dude just plays defense. That's all he does. Like what happened?
That's what they did, and that was, they were doing okay on defense. We had a couple of great chances. Like we had Vlahovic hit the crossbar on a pretty nice play. We had a few good chances in the first half, and I think we were better overall for the majority of the match. And then they got a penalty, scored it, and then it was, send 10 men up, try to score, try to get it back. We only had like 10 minutes left. They scored like 78th or something, and they caught us on a corner that we wouldn't have conceded if not for pushing everyone up, and then they got the third at the end. So I don't know. I've always said if you're losing, I don't care if you're going to ship 5 at the end of the game if you're trying to get that goal back. So I can't knock it. I'm not gonna give them a hard time. 3-0 is the same as 1-0. You're going out. So I'd rather lose 3-0 and be pressing for it. So
it's true.
I don't know. It was a soft penalty. I'll say that.
I think
it wasn't an illegitimate penalty, but it was soft.
I think it was the work of former Tottenham players Serge Aurier and Giovanni Lo Celso that won the game, honestly, in the honor of Spurs.
So they've gone to Villarreal and grown a pair?
Dang.
Yes, but they did it. They did it. They did it because of the quotes that are pictured behind Will.
Wasn't Lo Celso like subbed out before for the Real one on their tail?
way to get there.
I don't even know if they played. I was googling to see if I know any Villarreal players, and 2 of them are Tottenham players. I was like, oh well, I guess I know 2 of them.
Oh man. Well,
good to see Serge Aurier's leaving the right wing undefended somewhere else, or I guess the left wing.
So that leaves the Champions League quarterfinal draw. So Brad, you said that Chelsea are winning the Champions League. They had maybe the worst draw. Maybe Villarreal had the worst draw. I'm not sure, but Chelsea drew Real Madrid. City drew Atletico Madrid, Villarreal drew Bayern, and Benfica drew Liverpool. Okay, Brad, tell me what
5-0.
5-0 what?
Chelsea are 5-0 against Real.
Okay, in the Champions League.
Yeah, in any of the like whatever major cup competitions, not like friendlies or anything, but in games that count, we are 5-0.
That's very
impressive.
Good. Yeah, you guys beat them. You guys beat them last year, right?
Yes, we beat them, and then we beat them in the semis. Then we beat City in the final.
Yeah.
Yep. So we just want a new team in the final. We want to replay last year, but we want a new team in the final instead of City.
I think I'd have to fact check this, but I'm pretty sure Tottenham are 1-0 against Madrid in competitions that count.
Arsenal are the first English team to beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, so I'll take that. I think Arsenal are also the first English team to beat Juventus at their previous stadium.
Stadium?
Del Alpi or the one before Del Alpi. I think
Stadio Olimpico.
I think when we beat you guys in 2006, we were the first English team to.
We were playing at the Alpi, Del Alpi.
Okay, I think we were the first English team to beat you guys at the Del Alpi in 2006.
And we thought this would be Sean shooting all these shots against UA.
It's just facts, straight facts.
All I'm hearing is that Red Card Radio collectively dump trucks Real Madrid is all I'm hearing.
Real Madrid? I don't know. I don't dislike Real Madrid, but
our teams collectively.
True.
So Real is not whatever color Real is known for. They're white.
Yes.
Madrid
is not white.
Madrid is not white. It is blue, red, and like a small sliver lily white, like the smallest sliver.
I mean, if
when was the last time you guys played them?
The only reason I said that is we beat them on we had to go away and get like a win and did, or was maybe it was home, but in the second leg we had to get a win to go through, and that was the year we played Liverpool in the final.
I do remember that. I think
we beat Madrid on the way.
I think I remember that because Steve Nash was commentating the game, and I'm always like,
yes. Why is Steve Nash anywhere near my soccer?
Because he's
Canadian.
What is going on? He's the Canadian basketball player that occasionally would juggle the basketball before the basketball games. And in America,
I think he owns a soccer team in MLS.
He does.
Or maybe it's NSL or something.
Yeah, he's a part owner of a football club, I think. But it's still like...
He needs to get away from my broadcast.
He has been for years.
And so does Twelman.
I mean, he's coaching the NBA now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's with the Nets.
Good.
Insofar as someone coaches the Nets.
For the record, you guys are 1-1-2 against Real Madrid.
Okay. How did you even look that up? Because I was thinking about looking it up. And
UEFA has the results on there.
Okay. So we haven't lost.
But for what you you did lose to them in 2010, 2011. And then before then too.
This is a weird,
that's the Bale Dempsey year.
This is a weird
both 2010, 2011, you lost 5-0.
I'm gonna guys, I'm gonna try and segue us real quick, okay? It's really weird that Madrid would push so hard for the Super League, knowing and then invite all 6 of these English clubs who I guess are historically not good plays for them, right? That seems really weird that they would want to create the Super League, right? Anybody want to talk about this? Anybody want
to
talk about the Super League?
League's a great idea. I think we should do it. Go for it. Why not?
Of course you do. Juve needs the money. Like I understand.
Yeah, everyone needs the money except the EPL. That's why the EPL wimped out so quickly.
There was a different.
They got a little pushback from the fans. Yeah, they got a little pushback from the fans. They're like, okay, never mind. 12 hours, we're good. We're quitting. We're done. Because they already have. I think that's one of the main reasons these other clubs, especially Juve, that's why they want it. Because they see what's happening. The EPL is becoming the predominant league and sucking up all the money. And they want to remain relevant. And that's how they think they can remain relevant, is by creating the Super League and then then you kind of collect the money in the upper tier clubs also, but instead of like Newcastle and Everton having these huge wage bills, it's spread out a little more evenly throughout Europe, we'll say.
Are you talking about in terms of like the pyramid payments? Or
I'm just talking about in terms of who's getting paid. Like if the teams that are in the Super League are the ones that are going to be making the money, and it's going to allow clubs like the Milan clubs and Atletico Madrid and these clubs to stay relevant in terms of European football. Like no one wants to be the next Ajax or, there are these other great PSV, Eindhoven. Like there are teams that were great in the 90s and won Champions Leagues in the 90s that now, like, people that have been following football for 15 years don't even really know who they are, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wonder if so like there's been rumors recently that the Super League is back on, like sans the two North London clubs. So like you would still have Liverpool, United, City, and Chelsea, but apparently Arsenal and Tottenham weren't rejoining. This is the rumor that I heard. So it's all the original. So the 3 from Spain, the 3 from Italy, and then 4 from England. And like that was the composition of the Super League, and that they were going to get rid of like the I guess the permanent member status of those clubs, but like there was talk that was back on recently.
I have a genuinely curious question when we get to a point.
Go.
All right. So this is a genuinely curious question. Make sure I phrase it right. How do teams like Juve, AC Milan, Real Madrid, Barcelona, how do they get into this financial trouble, or how did they get into this financial trouble? How do they find themselves in, there seems to be enough money to go around for teams like Bayern and Dortmund and the Ajax and Lille. And there seems to be enough money to go around in all of these countries not named Italy and Spain. And I'm just curious, is there something that I didn't pay attention to that landed these teams in these positions? Because there's no reason that Juve should be broke.
Barcelona's easy, Messi.
Barcelona. I just included them because it's a problem, but
Real is like Ronaldo, and they keep buying Galacticos.
Hold on, time out. But Madrid are not in any financial problems. They like the La Liga just came out and they just like produced their like who can spend how much, and I think Real Madrid could spend like 800 million this summer and still fit within the guidelines. Barcelona, for example, can only spend negative 144 million. So before they're even able to spend a single euro, they have to reduce their costs by 144 million. So
I guess my question boils down to there is no reason for Barcelona and Juve to be in financial trouble given their global status. Like they are selling jerseys in, I don't pick a country, like everywhere. They're selling kits and merch and people are tuning in and trying to find a way to watch the game, and so the TV rights have to be there. I don't really understand it.
I disagree. Well, as far as Juve, they're like the Italy Serie A was like bought for cheap for ESPN Plus, and then for Paramount Plus, like came in for like just a little bit more. So there's not the money that the EPL is getting from Amazon, from Sky, from NBC. Like it's definitely a whole different ball game for the Premier League. And if you are trying to compete on a European level with clubs like Chelsea, City, that have unlimited budgets, like you have to essentially create an unlimited budget, which I get 100% wanting to have a Super League because that's what a free $250-350 million or £1 million, like right away. That's a huge revenue stream. But if you're trying to keep up with them, eventually it's going to catch up to you. And Juve is a really old squad. They haven't refreshed it a ton because they kept paying these players that were winning for the 10 straight years that they were winning. Am I wrong?
I go ahead, James.
No. I want you to take this.
I was just going to say I pretty much agree. I think the TV revenues are such a huge deal, and I think that I haven't seen the numbers, but my understanding is that the other leagues just don't compete with EPL in terms of the money they're bringing in from the TV deals. And I'd have to agree completely. Like the Ronaldo deal is a great example of they bought Ronaldo to win the Champions League, and they were like, we're throwing all in. We're going to spend as much money as we have to try to get the Champions League. Didn't come anywhere close, obviously. But it's deals like that don't really work out. You spend $90 million on Higuain, and we just spent like $70 million on Vlahovic, and we're spending good money. De Ligt. We're paying good money for these players, and if you aren't getting deep in the Champions League, you're not making that money back. So if Juve were making the semifinals every year, the balance sheets would probably look okay, but getting knocked out at the round of 16, it makes a huge difference because they're trying to compete financially with these other teams to try to win the Champions League.
Yeah, and so I think you are overstating a little bit, Sean, like the global appeal of certain clubs. So like shirt sales don't actually make that much money for clubs. That makes a lot more money for Nike and Adidas and Puma and the shirt suppliers. They make a lot more of that money than the teams do.
I just remember seeing a stat that when United signed Pogba, they basically had the transfer paid for by the shirt sales the next day. And you just can't tell me that United is that much bigger than Juve or Barca or PS or whoever else. You can't tell me that they're that much bigger.
Sean, the TV rights deal, £1.6 billion for the Prem.
For what is that combined? All
three: Sky Sports, BT Sport, and Amazon Prime.
Okay, and that's just
Serie
that's only domestic. So like that's not even including NBC in America and the other broadcasters,
which is probably way less, but still.
Serie A, £780 million, half.
Was that what Sky? Is that what Sky paid for them?
Or Sky and DAZN. DAZN, whatever.
It's the zone. Huh? It's just the DAZN is short for the zone.
Yeah.
Oh. Half of the money there on your biggest revenue stream.
I was genuinely curious about that when I hear that there's financial trouble with the like. If you said that about Roma, who's been fighting above their pay grade, yeah, take that down. Yeah, get taken down a notch. No. If you said that against a Roma or Lazio or a team fighting above their weight class, I could see that they're just trying to get that extra and they're overpaying. But the huge clubs really kind of got me of how do we arrive at that point?
But it's different between paying to compete in the league and paying to compete in the Champions League. Like those are different.
Maybe that's my disconnect.
Those are different ballparks.
And you could see that, right? Like Lille is kind of like the Leicester City kind of vibe of Ligue 1. And they got absolutely destroyed in the two legs of the Chelsea game. Like there's a difference where if we play PSG, that game's a lot closer. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
You just look like I was wrong.
Well, it's hard to ascribe too much to like one specific like Lille has had good runs in the Champions League recently, haven't they? Like
I don't think so. I don't think they've been top 4.
Well, in terms of, I know we don't cover. I don't want to sound like an expert on French football, but we're definitely not. Also, farmers and plumbers. I think France might have more electricians, but like traditionally, Marseille, Lyon, Lille are basically
those
the big four, big five of France. So like they're not small clubs in France.
Correct. I just think that you can't you can't discount like the TV revenue. Like that is just the biggest thing.
I also threw in Bayern and Dortmund and realized very quickly that the German football setup is completely different than the rest of Europe. So it's probably not fair to include Bayern and Dortmund because it's just not the same over there.
Yeah, so I think what really, like, you look at clubs like Barcelona, they just have been paying Leo Messi like 500 million euros a year, or like maybe it's like 100 million euros a year, or whatever it was they ultimately were paying him. Like, it just was unsustainable. Like, and it's good for them in the long run to get rid of him, or to not be able to continue to sign him. But you even still see like Barcelona are trying to act like they can sign players like Haaland and things like that. Like, when you reach a certain echelon of football level, like, there's an expectation that you maintain it. And so, like, it would be like Juve won 9 straight Scudetti, and like they haven't won, I think, the last 3, right? Is it 3 this, or is it 2, including this year?
If they don't win this year, this will be the second year.
Okay. Yeah. So it was last year was the first year. Okay.
Right.
Like, but they were still in the Champions League. There's like, I think it would have been huge if Juve had missed out on the Champions League last year. Barcelona, if they miss out on the Champions League this year, or for next year, like if they don't finish 4th this year, that would be huge, right? I mean, like, even like Arsenal, like when Arsenal dropped out, like they were one of the second longest serving clubs in the Champions League, and behind, I think, Bayern Munich. Like they fell out. Like, it was like that was big, but I don't think it would have the same kind of reverberation as if Juve were to drop out, or Barcelona, just because of the dominance in their domestic leagues. Arsenal were in the Champions League for a long time, but for like 10 years before that, they weren't winning the league.
And I think that's one of the reasons they went with the guaranteed spots.
Yeah.
Is because these teams are going to be investing a lot of money to try to compete with the best in Europe. And if you're trying to compete with Bayern and Chelsea and City and all these, PSG, with the limitless pockets, you're going to have to spend. And then if you have an off year against these powerhouse teams, you don't want to then be in the red by $100 million that you're never going to be able to recover from. You know, I think that was the reason behind the guaranteed spots, is that you're going to be making a lot of money, but you're going to be investing all that money into the squad to try to compete with these teams.
That was a point I tried to make, probably poorly. It was it might have been when we first started, but and James, you made the point of when you first started not making the Champions League, that money was different and you had to adjust.
Yeah.
Because you're used to that Champions League money coming in, and when you didn't, that was a surprise. That's not. Certainly. So then you have to account for it, and you have to adjust. So when Tottenham started making it, we made it 4 straight years. That's why I was so frustrated that during those 4 straight years, we weren't adding to the team. We were just throwing Kane and Ali out there and hoping for the best. Like we're not Ajax, man. Like, we're a pretty big club. Go get you somebody.
I agree that you're not Ajax.
Ajax is a bigger club. Ajax is a big club. I think.
No, they're not.
30 years ago, sure.
Yeah.
20 years ago, maybe. But
do they buy players? No, but they sell a wonder kid every 3 years.
Nottingham Forest was a pretty big club a long time ago too. Like, you championing Nottingham Forest is a bigger club than Tottenham.
Yes,
I think I picked.
What a European!
I picked the wrong one. I picked the wrong one because they won a Champions League.
He knew it as he said. He's like, "Wait, is Nottingham Forest better than?"
I meant to say Blackburn for winning the Premier League, and I think they won it in '94,
something like that.
But
yeah.
But speaking of that, maybe James, you can speak to this. But as a team that was consistently in the Champions League and then has been out for a number of years, now being on the cusp of possibly making it back in, I kind of feel like Arsenal fans as a collective think that is the next step necessary towards winning the Premier League. Is you have to make the Champions League so that you get that influx of money to then be able to compete against City and Chelsea and Liverpool.
Especially for how long we've been out of it. Like if you miss for 1 year or something like that, you can kind of float on not being in the Champions League for 1 year, but missing it for 5 straight years has definitely left our finances in a position where we haven't been able to compete financially.
You have to be smart with it. Yeah.
You have to
think differently.
I mean, like Arsenal, I think if you look at our transfer window, if you rated our transfer window in August, you're like, they spent 150 million on who? Now, like 9 months on, like that's a completely different conversation. But like, yeah, it's certainly, you definitely have to have that money. And not necessarily just having the money, it's the ability, because we have a billionaire owner who has shown that he's willing to spend money, especially recently. It's the ability to convince the players to come to your club, because like the biggest players in the world, they want to playing in the biggest competitions in the world. They want to play in the Champions League. They don't want to play in the Europa League. Like, and that's just a simple fact. Like, you can't convince. Like we talked about this at the top with Paulo Dybala, that he's not going to go to teams that aren't in the Champions League. So like if Tottenham aren't in the Champions League, Dybala is not going to go to Tottenham. If United aren't in the Champions League, Dybala is not going to go to United. I don't know if I want him at Arsenal specifically. I don't know if he really fits our system. I think I'd rather have an actual, like a big center forward, a goal scoring threat center forward than kind of like a crafty magician goal scorer. But
Vlahovic may be available, I think.
I mean,
he doesn't pick up the phone. He's got bad connection.
It really, this discussion, and I know we probably need to wrap it up, but this discussion really reminds me. I just finished Formula One Drive to Survive right before the first race, and in part of that, the team that's in 10th is the American team. They're just flatly not good in a lot of ways. But for those who don't know, the way Formula One pays out is you get more for first than you do for second. You get more for second than you do for third, and so on and so forth. So the guy, the team, the boss for Haas, not Mr. Haas himself, but like the team principal, the manager, he talked about the only way to get off the bottom is finishing ninth. We finished ninth. Now we have a little bit more money to do more, to put more into the team, to maybe get to eighth, and you have to stair step it. So that when you were talking about, when you guys were talking about that, Will and James, that reminded me of that of Arsenal need to make the Champions League to make that next step. Now you've made that next step. Now you have the extra money to go get that player that's going to put you over the edge to start challenging for championships and moving forward in the Champions League and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's definitely a ladder. I think you have to climb, and I think the steps are in order, especially in England. I think it's specifically required to be in the Champions League in order to compete for the championship at this point. Now, of course, Leicester City did it when they weren't in the Champions League. I think Leicester City were only playing in the FA Cup, and I think they were playing in the League Cup, but I think that year they got knocked out early or something like that. But like they were only playing in the domestic competitions, and so like that's a different level of strain on your squad. And so you've seen that with Arsenal. Arsenal have had significantly less players in their squad this year because we've only been playing in domestic competitions. But you have a bigger squad. You can absorb injuries better. You can attract better players. It's so important in the modern game. My closing thought on the Champions League, on the Super League, on all this is I'm not necessarily opposed to a Super League, but to me it seems like it's almost like it needs to be a European Super League with the exclusion of England. It almost seems like the Super League is trying to take the Premier League down a notch. And like trying to supplant them as the best like footballing product to advertisers and to things like that. Because like I don't know how much the Champions League makes in terms of like TV revenue and things like that. But I would imagine that the Premier League probably gets close to rivaling them, if not surpassing them.
That's why they didn't announce it until they had the Premier League teams.
Yeah, and
like,
so
you can't compete. Yeah.
And I'm not of the opinion that the that you have to leave the domestic. Like there's the talk that like if those teams were to join the Super League, they get kicked out of the Premier League or something like that. That seems like it would be super, super foolhardy for the Premier League to do that, in my opinion. But something needs to be done. UEFA sucks. Like,
I agree.
Like I don't know how to say that any better than UEFA sucks.
So is FIFA. Like they all suck.
Yeah.
So like I think we're all in agreement that they do suck.
So I think go for it.
Commenting on that, I think they'd be able to get a lot more money for TV revenue with the Super League because you'd have guaranteed matchups of top teams. Yeah. Whereas the Champions League, it's luck of the draw, and then by the time you get to the semifinals, it's only like Super League clubs left. So by that point, unless you get weird draws, by that point you have the guaranteed top dollar matches. Whereas the Super League, the way it's set up, you'd have like home and away against, like they were splitting it like 8-8 or whatever, 10-10. You'd have a ton of just top draw games that they'd be making top dollar, and you'd be able to get a lot of TV revenue for that.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the Champions League quarterfinals, of the 8 teams that are in it, 6 of them are Super League clubs. 6 of them are what was supposed to be the 15 founding members, including Bayern, because they were supposed to be one of the founding members. But you'd have to believe that Benfica probably would be one of those seasonal teams that are in there. I don't know if Villarreal would be one of those seasonal teams that get promoted into the Super League or not. But I feel like Benfica, in terms of like the Portuguese champion, like they're always up there in Portugal. It's either them or Sporting, right? Like, so
it's one of the two or both.
I don't know. You probably wouldn't have 2 Portuguese teams in the Super League if you had 15 founding members and you had 5 spaces for someone else. You'd probably get like one.
Speaking of history, Benfica are traditionally one of the best clubs in the world.
For sure, for sure.
They're up there on that tradition, tradition. But they're up there with Juve, with Madrid, with Liverpool, with United. They're up there in that stratosphere.
I don't know if I'd put them that high, but they are a big club traditionally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Tradition. Yeah. Like if you go back the last 100 years, they're in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to draw out the Super League conversation too much longer, but I just want to say that, one last point. It would also make the competition would be better in the Super League and then also in the Champions League with the remaining teams. You'd have the teams that would be able to fairly compete without the super rich owners just buying everyone up, and you'd have a better competition in the Champions League, and then you'd have the super rich clubs duking it out in the Super League. So.
Yeah, I think it's a fair argument. It's like the Europa. That's essentially like what the Europa League could be. But UEFA is insistent on dropping the 3rd place finishers in the Champions League into the Europa League and injecting Barcelona and Manchester United and all these Dortmunds, like
Chelsea,
these teams that don't belong in the Europa League into the Europa League to make the Europa League product better. But it ostensibly, I think it makes the competition worse.
To exclamation point your point, and because I know we're getting close to needing to move on. That what you just said is the reason that my friend Andrew calls Europa Spiropa. Because we make the Champions League and finish 3rd and drop down to Spiropa every year.
Did that happen to you guys a lot?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Happens to Napoli all the time too.
Yeah.
Oh, that did happen at Napoli this year, didn't it? Or did
they
just
a few times?
Did they
always get tough groups?
Yeah.
Napoli do kind of get screwed because they're a good team. So that usually makes their group the group of death because they're the 3rd.
Yeah, it's the coefficient, man.
Yes,
they're fighting coefficient.
They're the 3rd, but they're probably better than the 2nd.
What else did you want to talk about? Well, other than the Super League, you have any other topics that were on your list?
Nothing is coming to mind. I'm kind of
drawing a blank. That's good because
I guess
that's good because we're kind of at the end of the podcast. It would have been really short.
Yeah, but Juve still has a chance to win the league, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, I meant to. Oh, we have it. No, we got to do that.
We have
not
a great chance.
We have to do that.
Hey, so does Spurs. Just throwing that out there.
Hold on, Sean. Do you want to do this? Do you want to?
Mathematically, still got a chance.
We had this all set up. We were going to bring up the league.
Points back. Okay.
We were going to bring the league table up and let Sean.
Let's do that. Let's do that to close it out.
All right. Let's look at. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up so everyone can see it. I do have the Italian league up, so it's now up on YouTube so they can see it. So go for it, Sean. This is the Italian team challenge for Sean. Can Sean say all these names? And he's going to give us the Italian Serie A league table. Sean, the floor is yours.
So I think I said that I could get 12 right. And then when I mispronounce one, Will correct me. So then we'll keep a counter going of how many I get wrong. All right. AC Milan. Napoli. Inter Milan. Juventus. Atalanta. I got that. I thought that was going to trip me up in the moment.
Hold on. I'm taking issue with Juventus. You said
I was waiting for that one.
Did I throw the J in there?
You did.
It was like a half J.
Right, well, I'll take it. I'll take that critique. All right, we got one. Lazio. I skipped Roma. That one's easy. Lazio. Fiorentina.
Oh, I think there's some pushback on Lazio.
Yeah, you got 2 pushback on Lazio. You said Lazio. You got lazy there.
That's fair.
Okay.
Fiorentina.
All right. Sassuolo.
Oof.
That's
all
bad.
right.
Sassuolo.
Swolo. Yeah, that's when I'm at the gym. Trying to get Sassuolo. Verona, Torino, Bologna, Empoli, Udinese, Sampdoria, Spezia, Cagliari. Before I even said it, just put that on there because I'm not getting that one.
I say it again, but with a silent G.
Cagliari.
Close, like Cagliari.
Like Calgary without the G.
Yeah.
Calgary.
You said the G.
Calorie. Anyway,
G. It's a stupid name, but it doesn't matter. They're not listening to the podcast because they got to wake up and at 6 p.m. to go to the job site. 6 a.m. Sorry, they got to wake up at 6 a.m. to punch in. Venezia, Genoa, and Salernitana.
Salernitana is better than you've done it before on the podcast, so props on that.
Did you get those last 3 or no? Did you get those last 3?
Genoa.
He said
Genoa is kind of iffy, but
Genoa. Oh, I did say Genoa.
Yeah.
Was he right?
Venezia.
Well, I was only shooting for 8 wrong. Oh, I got 8 wrong. All right. I said I could. I thought I could get 12 correct.
Hey, Sean, say the 13th position team for me.
It wasn't that bad.
Empoli.
Okay. What about 14th?
Udinese.
Okay. You said
You
said like Sampdoria or something.
Oh,
Sampdoria.
Like, threw an extra letter in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Sampdoria. Yeah, I did put an A in there. All right. So I failed.
You were close.
All right, here's a question. Which team does Sampdoria share a stadium with?
I feel like I know this.
We talked about it.
I think it's Lazio. No?
Lazio's in Rome, bro.
Oh, that's right. Roma and Lazio.
That's Genoa.
It's
actually a pretty nice stadium. I always enjoy watching games there.
I'm sure the lights and plumbing work amazing there.
This guy, he's just doubling down. I mean, that's all we got is Sean's just blatant disdain for Italy and all things Italian.
Table is poo-poo.
You're not invited to pizza when we go get pizza when we do this penalty shootout, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If an actual Italian or someone that speaks Italian is watching this, they're gonna like hear our corrections and be like, "These guys are still wrong."
And we're all idiots.
Probably.
Yeah.
He said all 20 names wrong.
The blind leading the blind over here.
I will be the first to admit
probably.
that that's me. That's all we got. Will, how did you feel? Did you like it? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Well,
It's a good time.
we really
You didn't
appreciate
make me didn't make me sound like an idiot with the amount of EPL that I actually watch. So, yeah, thanks.
It's all right because Brad doesn't watch any either. So we do this every week.
It's fine.
I watch about the same as Sean, so we make it work.
Well, yeah. All right. That's all we got. So if you're still listening, we really appreciate it. If you could hit that subscribe button, share this podcast with a friend, with your mother, with your brother. It doesn't matter who. Hit the like button. Rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a comment. And if you are so inclined, reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at Brad. That's at KS Brad G. He, down kind of diagonally for me tonight. Is at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany on Twitter. You can't reach Will on Twitter. He doesn't do Twitter. You might send him a Facebook message, but I think that he probably wouldn't check that either.
I'll be in the Red Card Radio Discord if you want to get at me.
Yeah. Hit us up in the Red Card Radio Discord if you got issues with Will. Or you can send emails to info@redcardradio@gmail.com and I can forward those to Will. We can do a little pen pal correspondence if you want to. Did I? Okay. Well, I'll fix that. But yeah, that's all we got for you tonight. And until next time, Will, we really appreciate you being on, and maybe we'll do this again in the future.
Yep. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good night, guys. Have a good one.